Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 4 about to begin. I'll correct myself and say, ladies and gentlemen and MBs, Team Secret versus G2 Esports is about to begin. There's been changes on both of these squads that a lot of people love and have been following for the past year plus years. Also, if you're counting for G2 and their roster, and we talked about them earlier today, put it on the tier list. So let us know what you thought about that. But also, welcome to the desk. I'm Milosh the Medic. Here's Fresh and Demo. Let's talk about Team Secret first. Demo, what do you think about their shot today?
Tough game again. I kind of think for Secret last week against BDS, it was always going to be difficult. But I think Secret's shown us enough that honestly, I think they're on the cards to beat G2 today. I think that's where I think Secret are at the moment. Obviously making 2 changes, one massive one, Keenan gone. I think we kind of seen the influence of that because there's a couple of times where I think Secret last week, they were missing somebody to step up to the plate a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I still think that the new players kind of held their own. I think Astro comes into the roster, fits in nicely. I think Grubby, I think there's still potential for him to be a lot better, but he still didn't have a bad game. I don't think Secret really had a bad game per se. It's just BDS is BDS at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think Secret, they generally, their problem has actually been teamwork, team play, coordination, going together. Last week, the actual undoing, when I went back through the game files and the VODs and everything, was they were overreacting. They were trying to help each other too much, which is a good problem to have, right? Is, you know, they were getting a little bit baited by BDS because, you know, Efak or Shaker would walk in, get a kill, and everybody would try and swarm on it, right? Which isn't typical of how Secret have played over the past 6 months. So in terms of performance, it was good. They were just maybe that little bit nervous to try and get the round, and they played some situations, especially in the late round, quite difficult.
Take the risks.
Yeah.
Take the risks.
So good signs, even if the result wasn't there last week.
What about G2 real quick? We're almost out of time.
Yeah, a lot of pressure in G2, I think, today after last week. I don't think there's been too many critics, we'll say, about G2 compared to what there was last split. Put your hand down, Jack. But I think that today this team needs a win. I think to win off everyone, I think if they take another loss today, then people will be on them. We just know the G2, the pedigree of this team, the players. We expect just so much of a high quality.
My hand's up to criticize them, Demo. I'm going to go in on G2 a little bit. They messed up the map bans. They messed up the operator bans. They messed up the game plan. They didn't play together. And crucially, one of the things that was mad for me, they defended Villa, nobody on spawn cams, they didn't have a clue where Heroic was coming from. There were so many mistakes in their gameplay last week that is not representative of how G2 as a team should be functioning. There has to be improvement this week, Milosh.
Fabian was the problem. Anyways, what about our map for this series? Put it up on the screen. Let's figure out which one it will be. Our lobby is pretty much set and ready. It'll be Bank Secret opting for it, removing Border just before. The start on attack is G2 has opted for defense. Last thoughts?
Terms of preference, G2 have always liked Bank. They've been known in this roster to be a good Bank team. Secret have never really liked Bank, but took Heroic there in stage 2 and actually beat them there. One thing I will say, G2 are on a losing record on Bank. They haven't won it the last 4 times they've played it.
I think for G2, it gives them a little bit more flexibility than maybe I think what Villa kind of restricted them to. It didn't let them have that freedom because we know Doki can walk in and he's probably the only guy I've seen who can consistently get 2 kills if he's on his game, which he wasn't.
There's a lot of opportunity for that, right?
I think Alamau, you can hear Alamau's comms. Guys, I'm in sight. You can hear that whenever you see this team play the game. You know, there's moments there for Alamau whenever he just appears. Citizen's always going to be that threat, isn't he? Just always is going to be there. So there's opportunities, I think, on Bank compared to maybe what Villa was at.
Such a fanboy, but rightfully so. But hey,
whenever you know the team, it's, hey, I'm maybe the biggest fan, but I'm also the biggest critic. That's one thing.
No, you're not.
I am. No, but he just wants to hate. He loves to hate. Them. I will criticize them.
All right, you know what? Before they start fighting, let's toss it to our casters.
What?
Secret versus G2.
Doki better not play bad.
I know who did criticize him a lot before they started shouting. It was Fabian. He's actually going to be the coach right now. But last time they were on a 1-3 losing streak. Somehow still made it to the major G2. So yeah, it's nowhere near that moment yet where you need to start worrying. They still have 3 losses to go before they are starting to win here. So against Secret on Bank, mentioned before, 4-time losing streak for G2. It's not looking too great if you look at those numbers. There's definitely some opportunities for either of these 2 teams. G2, they feel confident here. They've just not been able to translate it yet.
No time like the present.
No.
I mean, I think that's it. Obviously, it was one of the sort of things that we said before and always in the build-up of EUL is that when you're the team that comes home with the major, suddenly there's a new bar that you have to measure yourself against. A bar that obviously EU hasn't had for a very long time is that bar of the biggest success. We've had teams that have gotten close and they've sort of dropped off or been dropped off, and now we have that again as like a measuring stick. You'll sort of see, okay, well, who do you want to compete with? You want to compete with the reigning champions. G2 were that other team at Berlin. They were the other team to sort of break through from the side of EU. They lost to the final champions. Bank was one of those 2 maps that they played, and it was a 7-8. Now, those current reigning champions of Rogue, they've been able to push themselves to their points today. G2 have to match pace, and it's not to undercut Secret, but G2 were, as I said, the second top team for EU in the tournament when EU won it.
Yeah.
This is their moment to reaffirm that.
Now, if we look at the bigger picture, G2 does not need to go to the major to qualify themselves for the 6th Invitational. We spoke to Doki before the major started, and he said whenever the roster was formed, this was the goal, to reach the 6th Invitational at the end of the year. So they can reach their goal without having to make it to the major. 7th place in EUL would be enough, but that right now, probably not enough for the fans watching at home. They want them to go to the major. It's kind of expected from them at this point. And you mentioned it before, they need to keep up pace with the teams that are currently at the top. Otherwise, you are not going to be finding yourself in a good time. And in a similar situation, they find themselves in Stage 2, where they had to win every single game in a row for 5 games straight if they wanted to make it to the major.
They highlighted it on the desk a little bit as well, just to keep things on the topic of G2. Also, I'll do a very quick, hey, these are the bans. Nothing is really surprising out of these bans. Secret removing the Candelas from the pocket. It is something that G2 can play and have played. And Nook
Often
is
play as well.
just a constant ban. Kaid on this map as well severely limits the hatches. And it's Mirror. There's nothing too outrageous about these bans.
No, for sure. It's very default. The Ying is the only one that would maybe strike your eyes, but as you said, Alamau plays it a lot, especially on this map. They like to use it for the execute. Now we'll be forced to go a different avenue. So, with that, into that first round we go, and it is going to be on that basement. Instantly some pressure coming down from the garage. Doki sending down a drone. It's not going to be finding anything as of yet. He's looking out from some Valkyrie cameras, but can find them as of right now, and does that means free ground is to be gained.
Ooh,
and
look at this.
if you look at it, a lot of players currently on that top floor.
Wow.
There's no one on site.
That's it. The site itself is empty. Alamau wants to put pressure onto the side of servers. You can see the player around the bottom of blue might have an idea and a call. One's going to head down green now, and the pings and the conversations coming out onto the position of Savage. But the Ossa in the pockets of Blur with the backing up here. Here comes the pressure and the push. There's the take. Alamau now has control of servers. That'll be the sort of warning sign. Blur sprints past, gets into sight. Kendry's going to come behind him, but gets caught out by the player still in garage. Doki has that angle. Now they know they can't just make that run. There's a plan. In the blink of an eye, G2 saw a weakness and a flaw in a site and took the entire floor of the site. Sleben at least gets one back, but held by the E1D. Astro wants to try and take the fight into garage, but Doki's round on the back. He was watching on a drone. There's a drop on a hatch there inside the site once again. Still trying to find the fight, but it's Blur that gets caught out. 20 seconds, and Alamau at least does enough to bite them back in. Doki with a very important kill there. Puts Astro into, well, the weight of the call of the Lion. Has 3 bodies left to get in. They've entirely swarmed themselves in towards site, and credit where credit is due. G2, they saw an idea and an angle, and they made sure it worked. First round's theirs.
Good information game, well reacted to whatever they saw there, and you know, they realized, okay, there is no one really on the site. Alamau had a spot on a player down at those blue stairs, used that E1D to capitalize on that information, and suddenly that is when panic starts to strike, because the one player that was close to the site dies. The rest of Team Secret needs to fall back, but that's the perfect moment to strike, go for that plant, catch them off if they try and go for any rotates or over aggressions, and secure the round like that. So, a good first round from G2, a good read onto the situation of Team Secret, who will not be going back towards that bottom floor, but instead will go to the top floor. I have to make sure, though, that someone is on site at all times to prevent any of those sneaky plans from happening again.
I like the idea that you can really sort of get a taste of just how much adaptation that was, because the pace of Blur and Doki to get into position that they were and Alamau, that was truly a call of, I think this is actually emptier than we think it is. Get one, let's go for it. Because the reason the Osso was put into that position, they didn't even deploy an Osso shield for Doki to hold that position. They didn't even give the game away that they'd put her into. That sort of situation into Garage, they just duck in, and they trusted Doki with the cover. If Doki hadn't have got the kill onto Kendrew, then Kendrew would have stopped the plant. It would have been a very difficult situation, because suddenly that's entirely in Narnia. But here, great read, great little bit of momentum from G2, and they've hit the ground running.
He would have had plenty of time left to try and make something happen as G2 if the defuse had gone down there, but then the pressure isn't on the defenders, which is what made it so successful for them. Either way, second round. Again, the drones coming to the side. Some keep-up areas are being tossed up, which will give the information of the Azami being present near the site. Twitch drone is currently being prepared for later use. Some information as well. It looks like they want to go quick again. They just need to find that first opening.
Blur with the flash over the top. Does he know someone's on the bottom? Oh no! Kendra just pushed the advantage, gets the kick call, a huge call. There's the blitz finding his way in. He's inside Laundry there, inside the site on the swing round. Doki gets Astro, but Kendrew's still with the kit. Now he might be one of the last with the kit. Sleben, the only other remaining player on this swing round connection onto White itself. The drop comes over the top. Kendrew's going to wait. He knows he cannot really stick himself inside exactly where the kit was. He has to give them a bit of wiggle room because he has to have a route out and an escape, but he's wasting so much time. Time on the drone, time on the recollection, and time on the push itself. They have a lot of it, sure, but to go from entirely having the site to now having to try and find two loose players, we've seen less players do more with less.
Now there is still Kendrew below, having a Nitro cell in pocket. 90 seconds left on that clock. Sleben is below, gives away his position though. 2 impacts to be used, will not find a single chip point of damage onto that blitz, and that means it's really coming down into Kendra with that C4 now, but he's waiting for the planter. A Citizen is looking to take the fight downwards. They know that these last 2 secret players are down here, and thus a safe plant needs to happen. Get on the desk, get on a different area, because the plant's coming down. That's the C4 used, and it's not going to find it, so a retake again on the board here for Secret.
Very well played there from G2. They got the kit, they knew where it needed to be, and they made sure it happened. Citizen finds the lockdown from the top rope. There's a spray across the board. Can't connect with the second, and G2 find their second. They had some work to be done, and it was very good attention played. And wow, for what happened last time on Villa, there's a nice way of using a blitz to rush a site. You have some support behind him.
It's still odd to see though. Diffuser dies as the very first on. They know that on the side of Team Secret. And there's 2 things you can do as a team. You either push for the site, get as many kills as you can, and then see what you do afterwards, or you try and recover that diffuser with all your might that you have. G2 decided, oh, the diffuser died, Blur's gone. Let's just rush that side anyway, because that was the plan eventually, and then see what we can do afterwards. Only having to deal with those 2 players downstairs who weren't there to defend that diffuser due to the tricky position. Outside repels, of course, have a direct line of sight on it. You cannot really hide in ATMs, because if you do, you get droned out, you will be stuck. And a 4v2, that is not going to be ending well for you. So they tried to be a bit fluid, they tried to roam around, but weren't quite able to find the connections in the end. Now, onto that 3rd round they go. It's another site for Secret to come out. Towards that kitchen, the open area. Seeing if they can find some success here. Verticality, often described as a key factor to this attack, but usually those hatch drops don't really work out. The quad wall more important to get down. Now, of course, the top of square is the big danger point for that, so you need to have that under control if you want to open up.
All right, the approach here. Onto open. G2, they're still keeping the line, but now in the hands of Citizen. See if they can try and get more of this drive through. They've kept their attacker choice mobile for now. Blur, obviously, he was one of the lead charges on the scoreboard in the game they lost the previous week, and they want to make sure that they don't have that again. And to be honest, that's not really the work of Blur, because this was the role he was sort of brought on to play alongside the Habana and the support structure and be that direct line. With the kit in the pocket of Alamau, you wonder where they want to try and thread it in. Sleben's waiting for a swing in. It should potentially be moments away. There it is. There's the catch.
Oh, too late.
Oh, too late. Didn't quite get it all the way locked in, and Doki survives. He's going to try and find a scrape inside the elevator. Does he know about Groovy? Yes.
Very clean shot there onto Groovy. Now continues towards the main stairs. Astro's a bit too much. We'll pick him up. That's back to a 4-on-4, but the top floor is now under control. It has fallen. No one's out there anymore contesting it. And as LMI will pick up Sleben elsewhere, it seems like G2 is also going to be attacking the site at the very same time. So LMI in their archives, waiting, getting on that drone, trying to get some information. It's actually one player still up on that top floor, but these Valkyrie cams are giving out quite some good information to Secret.
Kendrew, he's lent into the fight and the fire a couple of times. He has the ping on a loose player, and he's tempted for the fight, but he can't quite get a full connection there. It's a tricky gun to try and take that sort of engagement, and he survives, which is probably the most important part of this, because they've still got some work to do to get him rooted out of the site itself. He knows he's being watched, so Citizen, caught out there by Astro, is able to get his second for the round, bring some of this back slightly into the swing round in the favor, with Savage still on the top rope, so they're waiting for this approach to come across the board.
Now, the quad wall seems to be the focus point of G2 here, and as the Mew Jammers get taken care of, they will be able to open up. However, there is still a player below, there is still a player above. Flanks are very likely now on the side of Team Secret, and probably key to success as well. Savage is still expecting someone to come through the archives, and might just as well be, is Alamau still dancing around it, but surely you just try and go for the kitchen plant now. Get behind that bomb chest, use those smoke canisters and incendiary balls if you need to. That's exactly what they're doing right now.
Wow, that's caught out by a jammer. There is still the angle above. Astro wanted to come up the bottom of blue, but swings it back for 15 seconds. They've got to try and drive themselves through. They're able to find out the kill on Savage, who goes for the drop. There's Kendrew. Oh, there's Kendrew on the other side of a smoke canister. They've got no idea. Kendrew caught them entirely out. It's Virtue without the kid in 1 second. Astro just gets out of there. And tragedy has befallen from our seat of omnipotence. We see it all. And it's a cover by a smoke.
Apparently couldn't plant, but I'm not sure. He just ran through, and I mean, I get it. If you cannot plant, you need to go for kills at that moment in time. But it's just such a weird way to see it, because you had side control. You should have been able to get the plan down at that moment in time. Now, that might have not been the case. But that surely would have changed things. 45 seconds, you have that control. You know the flank was coming in the meantime. You covered off one of them. The other one was about to come through. But the plans would surely have gone down if the attempt was able to be made. But that does give Secret their first round. And as we will head back down towards the bottom floor, the rotation will continue. Now, there is going to be a contingency plan here for Team Secret. They realized last time it went quite quickly. Suddenly, a rush came through the side as only one person active. Onto that ground floor, there's going to be Goyo canisters all around now. Kendrew playing out on the Warden as well, ready to be flashed or smoked just so he can look through. But they want to slow down the G2 approach, because it was very quick this first round.
Secret. They sometimes make a habit of this. Taking a round out just by the scruff of the neck.
Yep.
And pulling it into that position. It's not the easiest thing for them to sort of get locked in. It's not the consistency, but it's something that they've done for sure a few times. And regardless of whatever happened on the G2 keyboard end, we can only call what we saw. And what we saw was a man behind a smoke, getting a very important kill. Can they try and build behind it now? Is that important moment? Bank is a map that leads itself well into the side of aggressors and aggressives. However, still it was a scruff of the neck, and things did start to slip away from them. There's no quick slip through onto the site this time. Kendrew's got the cover of the glasses in case they go for anything with the pockets of smokes that they've got, but it seems like something potentially aggressive could come out of the guns of G2 here.
Citizen getting himself droned in, realizes the problem he's facing right now. Shotgun behind a shield, 2 ADSs. It's going to be very unlikely you get to break through, so flashbang's about to be coming in. Surely Citizen wants to follow that one up, but with that bot wire still being out there, you will be slowed. Hatch to open up is going to be stopping any way out that Savage can take. He's looking to go a bit more aggressive right here. That's the first flashbang, that's the second. Smoke canister there to stop him and slow him down, but the shield will be taken care of. So he has no more way to hide, only this shotgun shell to protect him from Citizen.
And he's just going to hold it for now. The hatch is open, so he doesn't have a true escape out of there either. He can assume it's being watched. but it's both by Citizen at this moment in time. The rest of the team is trying to get themselves some sort of formula inside the site itself. All the eyes are together. The third canister pops off. They're prepped potentially for a lot of pressure onto these hatches. They've moved entirely away from it. And I'm wondering if they just want to try and take the hot drop and go for a bit of a backline here. They've got a minute. They have some time. There's the ping on the single player holding off onto the side of Garage. They know where one is. They assume the last is still on the site and the side. And, well, what got that Groovy? He doesn't know. But he's instead going to sit there and keep waiting. And this is getting, as I said, closer and closer to a bit of a hot drop, a bit of blatant aggression. Blur still isolated with the kit. You can see Secret's trying to work out exactly where they are. And, well, they're trying to just find those last few steps. Virtue takes the burn damage in the fight with the Aruni. Groovy's gone. There's nobody intently to respond.
Really good play from Virtue there. It tanks the damage from the Goyo, but decides to push on through so he can get that garage under control. Suddenly the hatches become a lot more viable because you don't have to worry about that long angle. And that allows Alamau now to drop in, try and take control of the side itself. There's a Jaeger out there hiding in the corner. Doesn't see it, but will get the kill. Yeah, 3 on 5, 9 seconds left. They need to go for the plants, but they are starting to fall on G2's side.
That's it. Blur's trying to find a way inside with the kit. He's stuck on a corner. Kendrew just has to find the one bullet to hit. And there it is, Kendrew. He's the man that pushed them over the line once again, but it was, as you said, from the fight back from the side to Secret. They lost the opening 2 bodies, but Savage round on one way from the other side, gets a very important take. It cut off Route A. They wanted to have control of the other side. It's why Alamau pushed there, and it's where Blur wanted to go to try and tuck that site in behind the hard wall. Just one of the gunfight went away from them.
Secret was just too spread out there. Like, you had people every single area. You had them in the garage, you had them in the vault, you had them in the sites itself and in the CCTV stacks. Like, you can kill 2, but there's still many left, and you're finding yourself stuck between the remaining Secret members with little time to go. Only a single member slipping through the cover that you have tossed up is going to be enough for that kill. And that's exactly what happened there. So 2-2, Team Secret, they bring it back. Find themselves equalized with G2 here. And again, if you're just tuning in, G2 are on a 4-loss streak on this map. It's not something that they should be proud of, hoping to break that curse here against Team Secret. But they do probably want more than 2 rounds. 3, maybe even 4 is what they will be aiming for to find themselves in a good position for the remainder of this match.
All right, Secret. Can you try and, again, keep building behind? As I said, you've got this plucky energy, and this pluck builds into confidence. Something the roster desperately sort of needs. For all that we've talked about, this being a great defining game potentially for G2 to really start cementing themselves in EUL as one of those consistently top strong teams. It's games like this that are going to be the ones that break the hearts of G2 fans and instead drive them towards Secret, a team that's still been trying to find a steady face after years and, well, not years and years, but at least a year of trying to find it.
Survived just barely, managed to stay in the European League, now looking to find themselves a way to that mid-table. We said it last Playday, there is a lot of potential in this lineup for growth. Impossible there, gets the kill, maybe? No, yes, Alamau will drop eventually. A bit scrubby in the end there, but Astro will find it as Doki and Citizen both respond.
Ooh, there's Savage with the swing round. They get a little bit back, but once again, there's a response here from G2. Blur over the top, the kit's cold. Behind the CEO desk itself, there's a moment of silence as Kendrew goes underneath with that pocket C4. If he can catch one more player out, then suddenly they have this idea, and this angle just goes with a pre-place around to the other chassis, but it's being planted right behind the desk where it landed on the side. The shotguns come close, stop it being planted. A spray doesn't quite connect. Now Kendrew has the tougher clutch than he had before. Caught on the rotate though, and Blur's to blame. G2 find that third.
Shotgun shell not completely opening up that wall there. It's going to be preventing his second shell to be sent after Doki, who was quick on that flick with the Famas to lock off the kill. So 2 on 3, G2 really take their lead. They have those 3 rounds, but we'll be looking for 4 to at least be content with the health that they have. And we know they're good at the attacks here and there. They've definitely started to improve. And if you look at only the first 2 rounds, it looked clinical. Afterwards, though, some small mistakes starting to creep in, time becoming a factor in the failures of the rounds that they have played. And they need to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Let's lock that off with a 4-2.
I think it's one of the things that we wanted to see from Doki and Alamau. Hey, did you watch the pre-show today?
I did watch the pre-show, yes.
Yeah,
So
you
it was
see-
about the tier list.
About the tier list,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We saw Doki and Alamo both kind of high in the tier lists presented by Fresh.
Doki had an opinion about it, though.
And I'm sure Doki has opinions about a lot of things.
He did say Alamau belongs in the C tier.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're fighting for that spot
but
now.
last week they both were. And that's something you could say maybe even less than that. And that's the thing, is it was one of the comments about G2 last Playday was we were really missing that sort of side of them, that sort of gun game. Blur had a good lead in game, but credit to him more than credit to the rest of the roster. He shouldn't be top of the scoreboard. He shouldn't be the one there. Ben had a slow start, but sort of warmed into it, and Virtue, he was able to pull some things together. But what we wanted to see, I guess, from the sides of G2 was this. Doki and Alamau, they have been on fire throughout this game so far, and they're more than earning their spots at where Demo and Fresh put them.
Now, Citizen, in the meantime, opening up from the ATMs, looking to find himself an entry through. Some of these Mew Jammers are stopping the openings from the Selmas to come in. However, a slight one will be made. Savage suddenly a little bit more, well, vulnerable. Flashbangs or grenades are about to be coming through, but he does have these ADSs that will protect him. 2 grenades gone, 2 of them caught by the ADSs, so his position will be safer for a little bit longer.
They've crept their way in and they found a fight very early on, but Sleben is able to get the one up there. Just maybe had the read. Alamau's trying to get a spray through the soft, but Groovy, he's able to find his first connection with this game. Doki wants a bit of revenge, but Groovy's still holding on to the angle, and, well, there's a second Groovy, a massive catch out there. They've suddenly found themselves in the blink of an eye on a massive back foot. Virtue, he cannot get the distance between Groovy. A triple for the new pickup, his first 3 of this whole game, and a good round to get it in as the balance between the half teeters on the edge of this round.
Seems like Secret is going to have this one in the pocket unless Blur is going to have something to say about it. Impacts to be used. This can at least alert him of one of these players being around. Waiting patiently, has a minute. Plenty of time is going to be finding the first headshot. It's a start, but still much more to be gained.
Caught around in the middle of the site. They know where he is. You assume at this point they've probably got a piece in an ear on where the kit is as well. They're sort of locked out on the different sides. A bit of a warning shotgun. It's pretty much saying, come through here, we dare you. But Sleben tucked on the other side of this wall. Here's the spray through. Here's the final reveal that I am not too far away. You've been close this whole time. 30 seconds at this point, even if you went for the rotate. Oh, that's probably a shame. Oh, he gets the pickup, and he almost finds the next as well. He's probably not going to make it to the kit and background.
Definitely not going to be going for the kit here. He's seeing if he can get any extra kills out. It actually hit Savage when he was shooting for Kendrew, so tagged him up a little bit, but time will run out. 10 seconds left as the final kill comes through. And that is going to be a 3-3 split. Even for Secret and G2, which means that the difference needs to be made now. Who is going to be breaking the deadlock? Is it going to be Secret? Is it going to be G2 who takes the lead? So we have to resolve a quick couple issues. We'll be back in a moment.
We will. That's how it works.
That's how it works. But G2 completely picked apart there as Alamau repelled in first, tried to put up pressure onto the player in Janitor. There was no opening. It's hard to challenge a person if you do not have a line of sight. But that only alerted Groovy for going for a bit of a swing. Managed to get one. Second player, G2, Doki, tries to take him out afterwards. Also punished for it. Leaving G2 with eventually just one single member left alive, Blur, to try and clutch it out. And it wouldn't be the first clutch we've seen from Blur. It wouldn't have been the first 1v5 ace clutch we've seen in the European League either. But he was not allowed to get that far.
3-3. 3-3 on the turn of the half at Bank.
Yep.
It's a map that, as we said, it plays well to attackers. I think it, you know, if you're looking at these two teams, Secret usually have their better moments on defense. They usually have the ones where a game's gone against them on defense. This little moment of time, if I'm being honest, is probably going to work a little bit more into G2's favor. They have time to have a conversation. They have time to talk things out. Obviously, they're no longer in boot camp. They do not have Fabian behind them as an ominous presence that can occasionally talk to them.
It can still talk to them, but from a distance now, if a tactical timeout is getting called. But yeah, Would it help, though? Would you play better if Fabian is standing behind you? Would you just be scared?
I've played with Fabian.
So have I, yes. I did team kill him once. As he said, I am in 90, and then suddenly he was in hookah instead. It's like...
You've got a reputation playing with EUL talent, though.
I don't team kill people, but Fabian.
Yeah.
It's the only person I've
you don't
team
watch
killed.
drones as well.
I do watch drones. Again, Des put it in the wrong position. I'm going to be putting it down like that. I couldn't see the person in green.
Old EUL talent have also said that as well. And I'm sure Fresh...
No, okay, yeah.
Would, I don't know if
I
you-
do
I-
also have an excuse for that one, but
Yeah.
it's like, there's no point going to it.
I know Jess as well has said you don't. I know...
Yeah, I
So
know.
it's most...
It was
talent
just
you've played
Des and Jess that have complained about it.
And Fresh.
Fresh just jumped in because he was
Okay.
in the game where it happened.
Anyway,
I've never gotten him killed by not watching a drone.
I'm not sure if they have rolled into their tactical timeout immediately after the technical. I will hopefully get some clarification on that. Obviously, we can see that it says Team Secret timeout, but we'll find out sooner rather than later. Maybe they took it as a moment to just sort of double down and say, well, we've stopped anyway. We may as well talk
Yeah, talk to
with
the
our coach. Because, as I said, Secret operate better usually on their defenses. And being put now against a map like Bank where creative defenders can get a little bit adventurous, that's one of the things to see.
Yeah, but creative defenses also lead into attackers with the right information potentially punishing you for it.
So it was a technical going into a tactical as well.
Okay, good to know.
Good to know.
Good to know. No more tactical for Team Secret. Still on the board for G2 though, so they can utilize that later down the line if they need to. Also, of course, if Team Secret calls a tactical timeout, that means that the G2 team and coach can also communicate with each other. It's not just one-way traffic. It goes for both teams. That's why sometimes, you just refuse to call that timeout because you give both teams the opportunity to talk. You really need to make sure there's enough to be said. Either way, 3-3. The even half we just had. And now G2 on their defense. And you've just said it. If they do get creative, if they do manage to surprise Secret time and time again, they could run away with this game really quickly here.
All right, G2. Now's your chance to prove that sort of moment. Swap with the Glaz Finker in the hands of Groovy. Obviously LMG-less because those have taken a bit of a dip dive. The 0, though, in the pockets of Slab. And it's an operator who I really love in this performance on this map, what he can sort of offer. Groovy is quite quickly finding himself potentially on the door of server, but the placement of the barbed wire means he will not progress anywhere further until this happens, the drone, just to get themselves a bit of an angle to slip through. Sees the ping from some assistance there, the Echo drones. Just being the lead in, the drop on the Echo drone, Groovy can pull back, and, well, they've done a little bit of work.
They had the ping on that. They knew it was out there, so only one left for G2 to play with, and that one will be in that garage, hoping that you can keep it alive just a little bit longer, so it might come into play in the late round here, potentially denying a plant, of course. That's what a lot of people use those yokai drones for. It wasn't up until the Berlin Major, where people saw Deepak, that it started being used again as a bit of an entry drone for defenders, just sending it out with the roamers, trying to stun whoever hopes to go in for a swing. But now only one left. There's one already taken out quite early. Top floor slowly being taken under control as well. Astro clearing it out with 2 drones ahead of him. Will be descending down the main stairs. As there's a player down there below, but he hasn't been droned out. And the drone is actually going towards elevator, and that gave Doki the opportunity to move on. Is that Astro gone? And that's everybody gone. We might still come back.
It may just be on our side, so the players may just be playing.
I think there will be.
We will let you know as soon as we can, obviously. And you can see that all the cams are frozen as well. So we'll keep talking as we find out, just in case you can all hear us at home. Because we don't know.
We don't know.
No, we don't.
Also don't know if we are live. Possibly.
Do we exist?
Do we exist in this space and time?
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
We'll be back in, hopefully. We are still unaware if we can be seen, but I guess this
Possibly.
might make a VOD.
Maybe not.
Unfortunately, our internet has gone down.
It happens
Is
sometimes.
what I'm told.
It's technical issues.
Technical issues. So
It won't stop that round, by the way. It will still be played.
The players will still be able to play out the round. I assume frantically somebody's trying to get in contact with them to sort of say, after
the
this
admin
round,
rather.
the admin saying, we've lost production. We'll be back soon. At this point, I
That's
mean,
sort of little TM as well.
at least it was early on in the round in that we're not pining for an answer, but I do want to know what's happened.
I do want to know what the eventual score will be, but I guess we just have to wait. After we had a 3-3 technical into tactical.
I can see that we're technically not live.
How can you see?
But we're on a delay
yes.
as well.
We are technically
So
not.
maybe we're technically live. This exact second in the real world, we're not live.
And that's like 4 minutes ago. We can see when it comes back, but it's like 4 minute delay. It's not ideal.
Well, is this the round? This is the round. 3 versus 3 post plant. We've got no audio. They're going for the removal. There it is. Caught out there. 10 seconds. Alamau's found as well. Secret win the first round.
Yeah, no clue what happened, but I thought it was replay. So we got
I thought it was replays because nothing,
no sound or nothing. Just getting back in.
no sound, and it just started playing. No, that wasn't a replay. That was a round.
But hey, Team Secret is leading right now 4-3, and assume we will be back at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And Staff and Open Area will be up next. G2
Sorry.
Continuing.
Sorry for anyone. The internet, obviously what we said was offline when we said what happened. The internet in the studio cut out.
Yes.
It was a blip in the internet.
I think medics just pulled the cable accidentally.
Somebody tripped on the cable, the internet cable.
Or was it Dez?
It probably does. He's running around. He does that.
Yeah.
So the internet in the studio went out. It did not affect the players' game at all. The players played out around. It's just one that's lost to the Aether. It was 3-3 before that. Now it's 4-3. Secret got the kit down. There was at least a 2 versus 2 by the time we got back in, which was around 20 seconds left on the kit.
Yeah, it wasn't much time left, so we basically missed the majority of it. Also have no clue how quick that post plant was. Like, did they manage to get the defuse down within the first minute, within the first 2 minutes?
Roughly, it would have been within a minute and a half. Hi, it's us again.
Hello. I think we've no clue what to talk about.
We
didn't see any of the last
We
round.
can hear
We can hear the game
some
still
of the
going
games
on.
still going on. I'm wondering if they're going to do a rehost by the sounds of it. Hopefully we'll find out why.
Apparently
and hopefully we'll find out what's entirely going on. I guess, sorry, people at home are a little bit lost. We're just catching up with everything when the internet goes out. It's one of those problems where you've got to play
So
a lot
I'm
of
using Edge.
catch up. So
But yeah, we're just waiting now until everything has been resolved and we get back into that game. It's now 4 versus 3 for Team Secret. After that, next round will be coming down in just a couple of seconds. And as we are getting everything ready and sorted, of course, the teams will be getting back into that lobby as soon as they possibly can. The score will be remade again and we'll be just taking off right from where we left off.
I've just double checked. With the ability to talk without moving my mouth.
I was checking. It's like, oh, you're going to push that talk back? It's like, no, I can't see it. Okay, cool.
Is that we are just having to rehost the lobby to make sure that we have the ability to pause and unpause the game. That's something that, unfortunately, if you rejoin, you lose. So it's an important thing that we need to make sure that when a timeout or attack timeout is called, we can respond post-haste and not type it in all chat and be like, somebody paused the game.
It's like one of the 10 players just got admin rights.
Yeah, one of the
It's
10
like,
players.
Who is it going to be? It's like a
you
roulette.
trust Doki with admin rights?
I wouldn't trust him.
I wouldn't
The
trust
ability to. Well, technically, Secret didn't have a tactical timeout anymore.
No.
So
at that point, it's okay.
It's his own fault
It's
in
not
that
okay.
case.
So we'll be back in just a moment. It's come to us, I assume, because with the disconnect, I imagine that's caused some players' cam problems.
well, I mean, they were all frozen when we left. So
They were all frozen.
very big opportunity.
So
That's the issue.
we will be. Could we get like the tech logo in the corner? That'd
Yes,
be cool.
please.
Thank you.
Or just in the middle. It's in
Just
the middle
'cause-
normally. Let me just.
Yeah, just like massive, just in front of Hap's face.
Oh, please.
As we're back in just a moment to talk about how that, I guess, as we said, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that round. That round is a proper round. That round will stick on the scoreboard because it was played entirely legitimately. It was a fine round. It's a 4-3 at this moment in time. Secret. And, if you think, obviously, we didn't have a live counter, so you can't get precisely, but at the time we left them, it was about 2 minutes 30 left. And by the time we got back, about a minute had passed, which means that they probably saw an opportunity onto the site and struck with a lot of pace, because by the time we finally got in,
It's like 10 seconds left.
yeah, there was barely any time in the kit. So that, for me, is the idea of Secret playing that game that we saw G2 do in the very first round of, there's an opportunity on the site, let's take it.
As the Dutch would say, to give them a cookie of their own dough, which is a taste of your own medicine. For
A
those
cookie of
wondering.
their own dough.
I like that one more than the
Super
taste of
helpful.
your own medicine.
Yeah, because no one likes medicine.
Yeah, cookies way better. Besides that, we're just waiting until everything is sorted. Don't worry, we're getting back into that game momentarily. Stick with us. Farm your packs. In the meantime,
Yeah, this is pack time.
tweet us your most fun facts about whatever. your favorite animal.
That's a really wide net.
Okay, let's just say, let's tweet us your favorite fact
About.
your favorite animal.
Okay.
There's a lot of fun facts about animals.
Tweet Daz a guess at his height.
Oh yeah, just yeah, that's a good one. Just,
I can imagine there are
random
like
guesses.
Yeah. What other fun things?
What other can we do?
I don't know.
I'm thinking now, trying to figure out something. What do we do for Milosh? Just tweet him raccoon pictures?
He does have pictures
Yeah.
of little scrappy animals.
Something like raccoons, maybe
Yeah.
bunnies? Is it like bunnies?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Bears? Is his family always
Does.
says when he sees one, he's like, oh, it's
does.
my brother.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That's literally what he says when he sees a bear.
He does.
Yeah. Fresh for hair dye brands.
Okay.
Ones that
now
stick.
you're going a little bit too deep into this bit. You've got to pull back. We've got to talk a little bit about Rainbow Six Siege. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Because it's very important to take into consideration just how much this game might potentially mean in the grander stakes of, well, G2, who want to, as we said at the very beginning of the day, be the team that has that second claim to the crown. If you get knocked out of a major in playoffs by the team that eventually win it, you can still sort of have the thing of, would we have won it?
We could have been second.
Could we have done it? They might not have, but it's a could have. This, if they're replicating their run before, where they lost the first 3 Playdays in the previous split, had a 4% chance to make it,
Yeah.
made it, and then had a great run, it doesn't show growth. And that's a worrying sort of moment. There has been a roster change, but still, you want to see, I guess, a little bit more confidence in these early games. This is a must-win game for them.
I mean, that's what everybody's saying, right? Like G2, after they made it to the major, it's like, they're back. You know, they're here to perform. They're here to show up. And not really have shown that yet. Not with the same, like, ferocity like we've seen from other teams, for example. And the fact that they made it from, like, a 4% chance where they could not drop a single point is more of a, is kind of a miracle to some extent as well. So it is something that they just need to work. They need to prevent themselves from getting to that situation again, in that position where they need to win every single game in a row to make it. Whereas for Team Secret, game has different stakes. Now, of course, they would like to make it to the major as well if they have the opportunity to, but for them it's more about getting out of that bottom 3 and making it to the middle of the pack, potentially pushing for a major spot at the end of the stage, because that is a situation, that is a position they haven't been in for a very long time. And after I saw them play last week, I thought, okay, there is a lot of potential for the lineup. There's definitely room for growth, and they have the opportunity to make it out of that bottom 3 and see if they can push on. And the way that they're currently playing against G2, that might just be true as well.
I think that's the thing about Secret as well, is they've always been a plucky team. They've always been a team that's taken blood from the top teams. They were the first, one of the only 2 teams to take points from Wolves in their almost unbeaten run in the previous split. They're a team that consistently rears their head at moments when, well, can they bleed? Yes. Secret have proven that they can, and it's a very strange place for them to be in, because there's also a lot of talent that we've seen come through that roster, a lot of players who you want to sort of have success stories, because we've seen them build up to the chance of success. They haven't quite been able to get there, and they're still, you know, out of all the sort of changes, out of a total roster count of everybody that's played for them, the longest out of a lot of different teams, but otherwise it's something that they just haven't quite been able to have.
Like I've just been making some sign in the meantime. There we go. Tech
Apparently,
pause.
unfortunately, they couldn't put a tech pause logo up, so I've made one.
Is this going to stick up?
I hope so.
Wait, I'm gonna help you a little bit.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back in very shortly. For those just joining us, as you can see from my expertly made sign, we're in a tech pause. We'll be back in just a moment. it has been a 4-2-3 on bank between G2 and Secret. G2, they got off to a very strong start. Secret have used their tech timeout, and then they decided to roll it into attack timeout because, well, why not? And it worked on the first round. They were able to find some success on their attack, get the kit down, get it planted in a swift time. Unfortunately, we cannot tell you more than that.
Because that's all we know.
Because that's all we saw. We saw the dying 20 seconds and the opening 20 seconds over a round that probably, at a total time, lasted about 2 minutes.
I don't even know. Like that screen went off now as well. Everything's just falling apart in the meantime. It's just what it is.
We can just keep going.
We can keep going and keep going. Keep going until the lobby's ready again, and we can get going with the actual game. See who's going to be winning it, who's going to be taking the points home.
At some point, maybe you can just go play around with the telestrator.
Possibly. I don't know if they have any clips or anything.
I think they might
like
get.
that.
No, you could just. I think it's easy. I think you just press buttons on it. I think fresh in demo.
Draw stick figures on the telestrator.
They say it's an intricate skill, but I think it's easy.
I mean, I've worked with a telestrator before. Did the only an APAC series 2 years ago.
Exotrica broke the telestrator at SI.
How did he manage to do that?
His pinned tweet is him stood in front of it and it's like blue screened.
A blue screen.
Sorry, Ollie. I had to sort of throw you a little bit under the bus there. No, we'll be back in hopefully soon. We are waiting for confirmation as to everything that's going on.
Yep.
As well. Very soon, yes.
That's the call we just got.
Is the call that we've just got. So
Thank you, Bruno.
We can apparently fade out a tech pause. Our tech pause sign, I assume they mean.
Yes.
But we don't. We can't.
Well, we can slowly move it
physically
away
fade it.
and be like, is this quick enough, Bruno, or is this too quick?
Is this too fast? And it's gone.
It's gone.
We're back in.
There we go. We're back in the game. It took a while. I'm sorry. I just tossed your paper
Yeah,
away.
that's my notes
I'm
as
sorry.
well for the game.
Yeah. let me be a gentleman and pick it up for you.
Thank you.
My chair is really built in. It's there we go. Your tech pause sign. Now, round 8, we will finally get to see it. And it will be, I believe, their basement. Yes.
Yeah.
So they have chosen to go basement. Then they go
Back
to a different site just a second ago, before the rehost came through.
I don't know. It was a very long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. I thought they would open it. Okay, well, it doesn't matter in the end. It is G2 looking to double down. And with that, see if they can make the change necessary and stop them from getting another post-plant position like they managed to find themselves in last time's Secret.
All right. Let's get back into this. So we'll see if we get a little bit of energy here. And I think Haps just got confirmation, but we'll talk about that in a second because Alamau has got confirmation of Savage. Takes care of the Jackal, an early kill. Once again, stopping this approach. Sleben. Oh, a little bit too far out to be able to catch any quick response there to the player who has drifted slowly and steadily further and further away. The push into stock, the control over the top of square. Virtue isn't too far away, though. They've got themselves connected. That C4 also connects. Citizen takes care of Astro, and this is a hold that's paying a lot of attention towards the top 2 floors.
Now, we have no clue if this is way better than what they did in round 7, but we can only assume so, considering you've taken out 2 players without even taking a single point of damage yourselves. And you still have Alamau going around with that pulse, trying to find out some information, see where the approach is going to be coming from. But with a minute 50 on that clock, and Kendra taking a small amount of damage as well from an unknown source, might have actually been him dropping down through the skylight. Indeed, Medics just confirmed that for me. It is Secret that is just hunting some shadows right now, trying to take control of that middle floor before they put their attention down towards the site itself.
Well, Sleben, can you find the fight inside this? Apparently so. Doki gets the lockdown, or gets locked down even, from one of the 2 elevators there. They're still trying to call the play on the player, but Doki was that last thread on those top 2 floors, and he wasn't in a position to be able to get the rotate. He wanted that engagement, but he lost it out. Now, Secret, they have 3 bodies. They've lost some of what they got in their pockets, but they do still have the hard destruction and the cameras to try and get a bit of a taste of the idea, as well as the 2 grenades. A little bit of a tricky resource in this current economy.
Sam Cam ready to be shut out. Some already been placed to provide a bit of support. Managed to find that very first. Now the elevator is under control. A hatch is being contemplated. Is, however, A bit of fire ready. One of those Vulcan pockets, ready to be blown up. Alama aware of the fact that someone is looking to drop down the elevator hatch as well as rotate. The hesitation is still there on the player. Kendra walking through the fire here, taking a lot of damage, eventually shut down. It's a trade kill to come through, but the diffuser has been dropped.
Now, with the diffuser cold and with less than 20 seconds, they got to try and push for the fight. It's inside the other site, so they're going to have to go that way anyway. The swing round doesn't net any results, and there's Alamau for one more. G2 find a response here, and we also have confirmation as well. The reason that we're okay to go to the site for those rules lawyers out there was because the rehost was supposed to happen directly afterwards.
Yeah, it's like an admin rehost called at the end of round 7, so
the site was just a nothing site.
the side was not chosen yet.
Yeah, it was like just they just clicked.
They just clicked something and we're like, okay, we're going to rehost at this point. Round 9 coming in though, 4-4. Equalize the score again. Both teams still head to head. Who's going to be breaking free first? Who's going to be able to find some consecutive rounds?
Free.
Are you breaking free? Where are you breaking free from?
I'm flying.
Flying?
Soaring.
Soaring, okay.
There's no I don't remember the rest of the song.
I don't know either.
Well, of course you don't.
What do you mean, of course I don't?
It's maybe some of the greatest musical work by the likes of Zac Efron.
Oh, okay, well, yes. It's not really in my yeah.
No. G2. They take a round back. Secret, as we said before, the round that unfortunately we didn't see was sharp. We can only say that based on the time frame of what we did see. That was, well, maybe attempted to be sharp, but cut off at the pass.
It was High School Musical tour, right?
Yeah,
okay,
30 seconds.
Sorry.
At 30 seconds, the first kill came through there on the side against the Jackal. The pressure that they could have applied on the rest of the map instantly removed. It buys so much freedom as well for those other loose players that were playing on the side of G2. Secret still tried to keep themselves a bit pacey, but it gave the C4 player, it gave Doki a lot more confidence to stick around.
Cameras up and ready. Sleben finding some information, hoping to go for a zap, but missed the first opportunity. Now, that Semcam is gone, still has a couple left in pocket, so could potentially still get rid of that bulletproof camera if he manages to find the right angle. In the meantime, Kento being opened up as well. He's going to be putting Virtue in a bit of a dangerous situation. Keeper barriers are being set up just to provide some extra bit of cover. I think extra X-Cars will be used to actually get rid of that. Grenade will bounce into the elevator, but Virtue just moved out. The right timing chosen for him to save his own life.
Now, as the pressure starts to boil itself into a slightly tighter scenario, they're looking over the top down. They still cannot get that bulletproof. There we go. It was proving itself pretty impossible. Here's a good play against the corner of Kanto. The quick stick there, and it's going to be a break against the Azami, and this battle might go on a little bit longer than they want it to. The X-Kairos has a good utility for exactly this, but how confident are they that they can get the catch before another one swings its way round? Virtue's under pressure, under fire, and it's the Ossa that's going to be the first one met. He's got to try and swing round for that second moment. And there's an Ossa almost caught out, and it's Astro that has the support structure, gets the one, but they don't quite get the kill. There was a miscall there. He thought the pickup was on the Ossa. It wasn't. It was the player on the stairs itself, and suddenly he's gone out with his back to the wrong side, looking towards an engagement that had already passed. Now, with the pressure that might come through, Blur's tucked behind the vending, and Citizen tucks around Groovy, put into bed, 2 versus 2. They're close towards the site itself, the pressure and the swing round. It's a steady creep. They want to go for the retake, but there's a massive separation between the two Secret players.
The meeting player is Savage. He's gone unseen so far, so he's in a really good position now. Citizen does have a good angle to shut down whoever comes next, but as it's Blur to take down Savage, it's only left up to Sleben now. Finds the head of Citizen, puts it up in a 1v1 situation. Blur needs to clutch it out for his team as the diffuser gets recovered. A plant attempt will be made shortly by Sleben, but first, he wants to get some extra information, put these drones in position, stop them, use them as a bit of a flank drone as he digs in right behind the B-bomb chassis. Blur creates himself a rotation, goes for the swing, spots the player, and gets the kill as well. It's G2 with 2 in a row.
Very clever play there from Blur. I'm not entirely sure if he had the full read on that drone getting put in position, but that was a very clever play from the side of Sleb, and it shows experience across these two players. They had themselves watched on the side of the flank, and then from that momentum, he thought he could just tuck behind the chassis, but The impact, the pocket impact, the rotate, and that wall being soft. Blur got himself that angle and got G2 once again back in the lead. The first time since about 4 rounds ago when they were 3-2 up. Now they can see if they can try and push themselves onto map point here.
And the open area will be where they do it, or choose to try and attempt it. As, of course, the other 2 sides they have gone through are still locked. The bottom floors, they won that one in round 8. And then the top floor, they won just now. So they need to live through this one to find themselves with a full rotation locked out for G2. Usually when you do that, you're finding yourself on the right track, because then you just need to win one more site out of the selection that you have already won before. Now, Valkyrie cameras are being set up all around the map. Citizen still has 1 left in pocket, closing up some doors that is purely for sound, but also to slow down any attackers that want to move through. Let them know, hey, I might be out here, you need to drone this out. If you then destroy that barricade, then defenders will be aware of the fact that you're out there or have been there. Astro playing on that IQ. Sole goal will be to take care of as many Valkyrie cameras as possible. New jammers as well, secondary.
All right, G2. Here we go. A little bit more of a distance put between you, but Secret, as we said, more than plucky and able to try and find some of the drive. They got the first. And they've been closer and closer across the board. A couple of peppered pre-fires, but it's Doki under the window that wants to get the second that comes. There's a little bit of a stretch. Is he going to be gifted by the loose player? No, Astro just misses the gift of his own. They were well aware of each other from one angle, but so far apart from the one that mattered, which was that final couple of degrees towards seeing either side. Here's the top of Janitors, though. Alamau with the shotgun locked and ready to pop round the corner. Astro's removed from the board in the blink of an eye.
Alamau playing in that Janitor. It's such a difficult position to get rid of. You really want to use your grenades in that position, but you only have 2 in the hands of Groovy, so he needs to be in a good position to use them. The thing is, though, he's not really having any cover, and with someone coming down on the actual stock hallway, he takes a little bit of damage. That will slow him down even further, as Kendra tries and provides some support from the stock room, but a keeper barrier will actually block his lines aside, which means that Blur is not able to be contested as of yet.
C4 out, the retake. A couple of bits, and the retake, well, it was a trade scenario. They made sure they got the kill, and Blur got one more from the side of stock. Salamau Savage gets Alamau, and Sleben gets a freebie onto Virtue there, caught rotating. Obviously, they had no idea he was there, or they wouldn't have done something so brash, but it's a gift, and it's now a 2 versus 2. Once again, Secret, they keep being able to drive themselves into this, punish 1 or 2 mistakes, and this is what I talked about with this team. They are still steadying the ship in their hand.
Now, both these G2 players do have an angle on that hatch, and given the fact that the buck is currently opening up so much from above and Sleben looking to join him, it isn't a wrong decision. They might just be able to find them as they drop through the hatch, especially if you look at the time. It starts to dwindle quite quickly now. 35 seconds for Secret to make a decision on where they want to execute from. If they want to go from the top of square, well, you're in bad luck, because there is going to be that keeper barrier that will just expose your feet. If you go through the hatch, well, you will be dropping down right into the gunfire of 2 separate occasions. So they need to make a decision now.
Well, they've taken the drop, they've angled themselves away from the hatch itself, they've realized their potential might be here, and their Citizen off the first. Savage, he's able to find it. It's the spray over the top. They have to call as to where Blur is. They also have the kit in pocket, and they're going to see if they can stick it. They're just tucked around onto the Kansan corner on the side of the door. They can't quite get a connection onto either. Now it's a 2 versus 1. Rotate into the box, and it's Secret that keep things going back and forth.
Well played by Secret. They're able to respond to whatever G2 did and tried to attempt. I mean, G2, they had the trade game going that way, especially on that top floor. They had it going, like they had it in their pockets. And then running right through over the main staircase, gets you picked up by Sleben still out there, hiding, not making a noise, not giving them any information that he was out there lurking. And G2 now find themselves at the point where they use their tactical timeout, where they give Fabian a microphone again, where they let him talk for 45 seconds to see if he has any notes to give to his players. See if there's anything they can improve on within just that couple of seconds of time that he has. Now, 5-5. Whoever wins the next round is finding themselves at a point and with the opportunity to fight for 3. And you mentioned it before, Amy, during our rehost, during the time off we had. G2 is expected to win this game from Team Secret. If they want to make it to a major, they need to win these games against the teams below them, because they struggled with the teams above them previous season. So Team Secret should be one of those teams that they can dispatch off.
5-5, Secret, and well, is this that sort of prize that they've had prized above the others so far, which is that we can take points from the big dogs. We can take these games out of the hands of the teams that are always finding themselves in the top 4, or does it spell something else? Does it spell Secret getting themselves right in the mix, taking these early games away from those competitors and suddenly catapulting themselves up the board? Both teams, obviously, currently based off the non-score, sitting around 8th place, but you're looking at, you know, teams that have had 1 win, 1 loss throughout a lot of these opening play days. There's not a huge amount of runaway as of yet, so it's still everything to play for.
It still is, just that the winner of this game will be bumped up into 6th place at most today. So it might not look like a lot, but of course these points will be so important if you look at the long run. If you look at the entire stage, Savage picked up first, Doki with the entry, but he went for a run out, and now he's going to be stuck. He's going to be able to make it all the way around. Citizen provides the door opening for him. No one is in a position to shut him down. You should not be able to get away with this.
No. I mean,
Gribby, there's an opportunity.
Of the hundreds of times, there you go. Of the hundreds of times we've seen that, at least it got punished in the end. It's very rare to see anyone ever get back into the building.
Yeah. At least they shut him down without him having any further impact, right? He ran all the way. He was about to put down a Banshee, but wasn't even allowed that. So, well done. Basically, 1v1 trade.
Astro. This is what we talked about before with the Ossa and the read that G2 did very well in the first round as they brought it for this potential setup, but then pushed themselves further and further forward. They could do this, get a bit of a base, a backline, and a bastion for this. Groovy still has control on the far side. There's nobody directly countering him at this moment in time, but look, here's a break on the hatch. Here's an angle. Citizen's going to push through the fire and takes the fight itself. He takes a lot of damage in the engagements, and they utilize the C4. A little bit of a farewell.
Yeah, just a friendly goodbye to his fellow colleague on a different team.
Just testing his crouch key.
Yeah, it's good to know, make sure that it works, right? Every now and then. Have to make sure you don't run into any technical problems later down the line.
Kendrew and Sleben put the pressure above the hatches itself. They're still trying to angle towards the other side. They've got that watch from the Ossa to make sure nobody gets past Astro inside Garage. It's a connecting line as well. It stops them being able to play the long arm utility, but I guess if you go for an aggressive retake of server itself, then you don't really need to play the long arm because they've still got to try and arm themselves into you. Blur is going to suffer the breach on top of him. He has time and an angle to play against this. There are obviously the chance of pocket utility. The spray comes through, 40 seconds, and now the drop towards the site potentially starts on green.
Oh, Blur takes a lot of damage to drop through the hatch. He had no clue about it happening. He thought he was safe with the fire popping off, but not dealing enough damage to Kendrew, who now receives some smoke canisters as well. Still a 3-on-3 though. 20 seconds on that clock. Sleben does have the diffuser, so Kendrew being stuck in the elevator, not too big of a deal.
Waiting for the drop, had the read from the Pulse heartbeat scan. It comes through, and there's a take, but Sleben wins it out. Citizen takes Astro on the site itself, though. They've still got to try and get the kit stuck. The pings are coming from the far side. Citizen cannot win it out. And Kendrew is able to push Secret onto map point, the only team that has a chance of the full 3 here.
Now all G2 can do now is try and steal points away from Secret, see if they can make it towards that 6-6 mark, and after that play that small best of 3 in what has been so far a very even game between the two teams. In the staff room and open area, the choice of G2. Not wanting to go back to the bottom floor, not wanting to go back towards CEO. It's open area. The Summer had such a great start to the round, then due to a lack of information, somehow let it get back to that 2v2, which eventually clutched out by Team Secret. Little time left, but they managed to strike from 2 different areas, from the hallway and from Archives. Get 1 kill, go for the plant on the other. And safe ground, not allowing the last player to go for a clutch. Blur that was. Blur, who has been doing quite well today, I have to say. He has been having a positive impact on the team, just like Citizen. And it's not like, if you look at it, that anybody's truly underperforming on either side. Which probably you will see in the scoreboard as well, given it's 6-5 currently.
All right, can they make it a 7 though? Can G2 find anything from this game? It's all down to this, the connecting round, the potential chance of, well, some success, even with almost a complete free getaway on that opening pick. They're still suffering. Secret keep biting back in. They keep getting these positions where G2 seem a little bit unaware of the lockdown. It's some of the punishments that we saw that they suffered in their previous Playday. Again, there were these loose players, these threads that just came up around the backside.
I mean, the thing is, right, Secret is playing as a team. When they were clearing out the top floor, all 5 players were out there. And G2, you know, they cleared 3. It's like, oh, surely it's going to be clear now, right? They hop down, but there's still 2 players there to catch off that last player. And that is just what's catching them off guard every single time. Like, the entirety of Secret is involved with every single given push they do. It's not like they're playing like 5 individuals all across the map. They're all working and closing in onto the same goal here, and that's what has given them so many pickups onto the G2 Romans trying to make their way out.
Well, there's a break onto Janitors. There's the ping on the player. There's the Buck saying hello, and, well, there's Alamau. Goodbye. Virtue at least gets that response. They take the drop onto Stock Hatch as well. They're not going to sit around. They know that this shutdown is coming, and it is vicious. Savage, he's been able to get himself into these good gunfights throughout this game so far. They've been able to take one of the players out, but Sleben, superpower player, has been having a few super powerful rounds.
Oh, this is a good angle, Sleben! What a beautiful shot on Toki there. He saw the first shoulder pick, was about to be challenged again, but way quicker on that trigger. Just takes the head clean off. And it's advantage again for Secret. 3v4, 2 players on the side, Virtue hiding in the elevator, hoping to go unnoticed so he can go for a flank.
Well, I'll see now if they can try and do something here. G2, a body down. 2 big gunners, and I said they were a little bit quiet last week and they showed up a bit better, but here, since the rehost and since coming onto the defense, they haven't quite been able to have the exact same effect.
Missed round there.
Still a lot of potential available, and as you said, Virtue, he sits quiet, waiting for the chance. We've complimented the closed down game here of Secret. Are they aware? They seem to still be playing caution towards those positions.
They haven't fully drawn it out, and I think Sleben just realized that. So he's continuing to drone something else, going for the actual site, preparing them out there. Sleben with a second drone now, putting it in the hallway. So if Virtue does decide to step out, they should be aware. And there is some pings coming down on the side of G2. They know about these players, but just missing the opportunity. But look at that, 10 seconds left, Emmy. There's no time, they need to go now.
The grenade pushes out Citizen and the guns do the rest. It's a 4 versus 2. Kendrew just needs to try and hold this behind the side, but it's Blur that gets the kick cold. A massive impact. They cannot just, they connect it. They're trying to find the fight over the box. It's Blur with one more. It's Virtue out on the backstairs. Groovy's holding F, but Blur is that lockdown. And we are going to OT.
I have to say though, Kendrew, I'm not sure why, but he was staying in the middle of that room for a bit too long to my liking. There was no time left. I think it would have been better if he would have stuck behind the bomb chassis. But again, I don't know what was happening. I don't know what the calls were. Maybe they had some extra information that we could not hear or have access to. But just that one tap from Blur, just the kill onto the diffuser carrier, that basically ended it all right there. Because if Kendrew was able to get the diffuser down uncontested, that would have been a post plant in a 4v3 situation, or 4v2 even. A Citizen went down just earlier. And Blur again with a massive impact on the round, 6-6. And now it is just 3 more rounds, and whoever gets the most out of these next 3 is going to be picking up an additional point for a grand total of 2.
I mean, what a moment there, this take as well. They weren't entirely sure on where Blair was. They pre-fired onto the cut spot, and nobody is leaving unscathed. Whoever wins this is only taking the slightly muddy 2. But at this point, taking the win, I think, is a bit of a breath for either of them.
Yeah, for sure, this one has been neck and neck, and it has been a very long game, especially if you keep the rehost in the middle of it into account. It's starting to get quite late. Your focus starts to drop potentially when games go on this long. So both these teams, they just want to lock it off. They just want to end it. But the thing is, no one is really favored at this moment in time, Emmy, because it has been 3-3 and 3-3. It's been 50% even right now. It's literally in anyone's game right here. Whoever gets that first round will have the advantage as they have 2 more rounds to try and complete it. But that's literally everything there is to it. The only good thing is that every single side is unlocked. So maybe that is a small favor towards the attack itself. Because you only have one side you need to play. You can play the one you're most confident of, not having to play 2.
Down to the basement. G2 back on their attack, where we've obviously seen, I mean, to be fair, some of their more enigmatic play, it's come down to a little bit of a clutch moment, as most recently seen before, a lot of 1 versus 1s, whereas at least when they took their attacks, they were usually flooding it, and then they were pulled apart, and it was rounds, for my money, with a lot more difference and a lot more of a stretch between the 2 teams. They're prepped with some ideas and angles. The break on the hatches, the reveal of Savage, once again playing around the top blue, waiting for anybody to show face. It was Citizen taking a single fight before. It seems like they want to try and drive this. Oh, there's a catch and a reveal. They wanted to play a little bit tricky there. There's the breakdown onto that. The catch onto the gate as well on the hatch. Savage, he's buying himself as much time as possible. Citizen's eyeing up the idea of just swinging into the fight.
Might actually just do that by dropping the hatch. Astro drops, Virtue finds that kill. That is going to be massive. Now Savage is going to be the next target, fully flashed, goes in for the shotgun. They have it. Citizen drop down the hatch, as I said before. He might just go for it, and that's exactly what he did. A 2-minute advantage now for G2. Starting to breach slowly. There's still some canisters all about that will blow up into a sea of fire that will only slow them down momentarily, but there is an opportunity to go for the plant. However, G2 have let it get quite late time and time again, giving Secret the opportunity to go for these clutches, and they're setting themselves up for it again.
Well, Kendry finally gets rid of that drone. He's in a position to stop any sort of smoke plant if they wanted to go for it, but Blur's going to play a bit of a bait here across the board instead. They want to draw out some of the utility. 2 C4s left, and as you said, the breach isn't one that they can work with. They try to just blindside their way across, and Doki and Alamau went out. It's a cold kip, but with the time that they've got, after the other 2 kills going their way, there's a little bit of a scent of the afterlife of Sleben, but 3 versus 1. Post-plant situation. The first fight down the corridor is keeping him at bay. The second fight shows up on the door. G2 is popping up from every single which way and what. But there isn't quite a route through here for Sleben. There's at least one handed to him. Alamau is gone. 2 remaining players, Citizen and Virtue on the far side. The cool hands of G2 and a cooler hand from the Finn, and at this point they take the sort of idea, get out of there, go up towards the hatch itself. Citizen took a kill off of a hatch drop last time. This time he can rotate his way around. The C4 catches the bait, but he pulls himself back. Well timed, well played, and now we're out of time at this point. This should be a very easy pickup. Well, it is for one of them, but the round is the more important thing. G2 move 1 round ahead.
Get your kill, the Citizen said, but I mean, there was never going to be a way where he was going to be winning that. Either you stick it and you get shot, because there was still 5 seconds left on the clock, and I don't think Citizen is in the current form where he would miss that. Still plenty of time to go for the knife. I think it would have been better if he went for the stick the first time around, try and play with the time a little bit there, but G2, they did that well. Even though they lost quite a lot of manpower during the retake there, I mean, they kept throwing bodies at him, but to some extent, that's also a way of wasting time, because you just give him a fight after a fight after a fight, which he needs to go through and fight through every single time, which only leaves you about 15 seconds left to then get that diffuser down and play with the verticality against you. So it is always that balance. Sometimes it's better to do nothing and just stay back. In these situations, it can help to just toss bodies at someone and make sure that they will never get the last. And that's exactly what happened there. 6-7. G2 now on match point. For a single extra point, though. Not for any place gain in the league. They will remain 8th. If they do manage to end it up here. And that is, of course, due to round differential coming into play and having less points than others.
But still better, technically, than their previous stage performance, where they left the first 3 games without anything. Here, they can at least, well, they will at least leave with something, but still, as I said, what we want to see from the side of G2 is growth. We want to see them settling into the engagement. You want to see the same from Secret, and the fight I think they've put together so far is one of those times where you have one of those players showing up massively, and it really brings that extra bit of energy for the team itself. A bank that's been back and forth across both attack and defense. Still has a little bit of wiggle room for both. The pressure over towards CEO, a side that they found some success with on their defense, but it was the 1 versus 1 clutch scenario that locked it out there from the side of Blur. Well played from both of them, but just one step ahead.
Trying to go for the C4 there on Groovy, but Groovy well aware, heard the rip potentially, and was just waiting for it to fly in so he could bait it out and play it a little bit more safely as Doki is being taken care of from the garage side of the repels. Astro dealing a lot of damage to him, leaving him down on about 20 HP. Somehow the same if you get picked up after a DB&O. And as Kanto gets to open up further, it's going to be making the hallway a lot more awkward to play in for the remaining G2 members.
Yeah, they're looking for the angle towards the lockers, even the elevator, the lift as well. Just to cut out anyone that's trying to hold and hope in that pocket. Makes it tricky to be convincing inside there. The width of the angle, as you see, it's made even wider. They're just ensuring no player is there. Doki's the next under pressure. Grenades and trying to stop his lock and key. They did try and push up here with an Ossa before. This time it's going to be a little bit more of a face check, but Astro is able to get the first out on the cover. There it is, the swing round, the jump down, they're caught out. There's one more! And it was just Secret across the board. I said it felt a little bit less like the Ossa was leading the charge, but to be honest, it's because she didn't even reach the top of the stairs by the time Secret had killed everybody.
I'm so confused where everybody died on G2's side. It's suddenly they're just starting throwing themselves over the railing right there. They're like, everybody's coming up. Someone probably made the call. They're all coming up the spiral staircase, and then there's just one person that's lagging a bit behind coming in from the ATMs, finding Doki as he does jump down to look if he could go for a flank together with his Valkyrie. And that leaves it in a 7-7 in anyone's game right now. Whoever wins this round takes the extra point and will take home 2 rather than just the 1. More importantly, will find himself in that 8th place, which means SI points. Because up until 8th place is when you get points. 9th and 10 don't get anything in a stage. We said it before, G2, they need only 8 to make sure they make it to SI.
I mean, it's these moments where you're sort of watching G2 and trying to thread the pieces together. It's, I guess, high expectations mid by the performances, by what we see, because within the same game they'll show a super team and then they'll show a not so super team, and I think that's sort of that split there. What the call was, what drove them into that situation is one obviously that's haunted them a little bit. Secret with that unity that's kept them over their attacks, but now they've got to do that one different distance here. It's been a deadlock this whole game. It's been a 3-3 either half, and now we find ourselves in a 1-1. But who is going to be the team that at this point, for my money, just sort of limps over the line?
I definitely think that Secret has the better opportunity here. They have been able to punish everything that G2 has been doing so far. Small opening will be made, though. It's going to be putting up some pressure onto Savage, who's playing in Janitor. Nothing too major yet. It's going to be a great first kill from Astro, taking down Virtue. That's a sledge gone, that's 2 grenades gone. Suddenly, there's none left. So they need to try and find different ways now to get rid of Savage.
Well, that's it. He's tucked in. He's got the rotate round. Alaman wants to cut them off at the pass, heads his way through, just sees the shoulder, doesn't take the shot to not give the game away the position, and Sleben's allowed to rotate out of there unscathed, unharmed. The pings are coming through, and it's Doki that takes care of Groovy with a lot of damage. Sleben has a quick response. There he is. He gets the loop round, takes care of Alamau. I think he took the actual all the way rotate through the little box in the core of the floor, round into the back of Archives, and Citizens now got to try and step in to the pieces left behind. The pings are still continual. And 4 versus 3, all the Valkyrie cams still up, giving the call and the clarity of where they can go. Most importantly as well, it's not just about what they have and where they are, but it's also about what you still might be able to work around with. Sleben's under a huge bout of pressure. He's hoping the fight comes through as the rotate comes down. Astro's gone down, potentially to hold the bottom of white.
Now, Blur is aware of the fact that Valkyrie's out there. Flashbangs will be tossed in, but that will give out the information as well towards Sleben that there is some pressure coming down on him. Verticality needs to be the game, and that's what Doki goes for here. By putting down that breaching charge, they hope to isolate Sleben, but he's just sneaking out slowly but steadily. The barricade will block his line of sight for just a little bit. Blur takes some damage from the top floor in the meantime as well.
And that's it. Citizen now, he's a bit lost. They didn't quite get the strike. Sleben's able to survive and pulled another minute out of their hold here. They've got to lock down on this player that they just did not know was on the top floor. Astro was still in this position behind the soft. Never took the drop on the hatch, but does take Doki's life. They still don't catch Sleben because Savage saves his life. A 4 versus 1. Secret. They got off to a bit of a rocky start, but they know how to get it over the line. 2 points and a win.
2 points they will take home. Very important for them to try and find their way out of that bottom 3. They have been stuck in that for many stages now. They want to make it to that mid-table. And G2 again, with an unfortunate loss for them, as they wanted to improve upon last stage. Not quite yet. They managed to take a point home. Might be a saving grace at the end of the stage, but it's definitely nothing to be too happy about this time around.
It was a long game. As I said,
was.
it was a limp for both teams by the end of it, with the tech problems in the middle and with where we got to a full OT title and tie between these two teams. But only one takes points, and we'll leave that to the desk to try and break it down.